All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Oceanworks webinar session, always informative times. As you can see, I am back in the office, so we are progressing. I am vaxxed, my eyebrows are waxed, and we're ready to go. Sorry, I had to say it. Today, we are going to be talking about fast tracking your sustainability initiatives. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Patrick. I am the Global Director of Material Sales for Oceanworks. And I will also be joined by Mike Ryan, who is the CEO and owner of RSP Inc. I do see some familiar faces in the guest list. For those of you that are new, a quick background. Oceanworks, we are a several-year-old company at this point. We are considered the world's largest supplier of ocean and ocean-bound plastics. In addition to that, we also have a very wide offering of standard PCR plastics as well. At this point in time, we're considering ourselves a global sourcing engine, meaning that we have materials all over the world and we can connect them to your manufacturers on a very international scale and at a very high capacity rate. With that said, that's Oceanworks. I'd like to take a moment to introduce Mike on a more formal level. Mike, can you please tell us a little bit about RSP? What it is that you do, a brief history, I think would be very helpful.
Sure. Thanks, Patrick. And thanks everyone for joining today. It's a pleasure to be here. RSP is a third generation family owned business. We're based here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. We do digital printing, screen printing, assembly work here. And we also have 2 fully controlled facilities in China. RSP is a full service contract manufacturer. So we offer end-to-end solutions for our clients. We can help you at every stage of your company or product development, from engineering to prototyping to production, warehousing, and even order fulfillment. Our manufacturing expertise includes silicone keypads, memory and switches, graphic panels, packaging. We do full turnkey products that are ready to use or for retail. And of course, the reason I'm on this webinar, we do a lot of plastic molding. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, we are molding plastic. I like to say, you dream it, we build it, because over the years, we've pretty much done it all. From life-saving medical products that are used in hospitals to automotive accessories in your cars, consumer products like sensors that go into your shoes and sense movement and force, and wine aerators in your house. You know, really, in fact, there's probably something in your office or home that we've touched or manufactured, but it doesn't have our name on it.
Yeah, and I've been working with you for long enough now that it's really a true statement. RSP works across just so many business sectors. It's amazing the breadth of expertise you have and just how many different industries you can work and help in. I also think it's important to know, because whenever I introduce RSP to a customer, one of my favorite things is you have a very clear line of communication the way that your business is set up. So you are obviously here in the US, Midwest offices. Most of your work is being done, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Asia and specifically China. As such, you have China team, US team, no matter who you're working with, there's a clear line of communication. Basically 24 hours a day, somebody is available. So when a customer is introduced to you, the feedback I always get is that it's just a very easy communication structure. Everything's very transparent. And I think that that goes a long way, especially if you're going to be exploring new materials, hopefully Oceanworks materials. On top of that, it's also, I think, very interesting. We met on a fairly transactional level to begin with. Tell me a little bit about how we first came to get to know each other. Obviously, we've built this into a relationship-based partnership at this point. But yeah, tell me about how you came through, what that initial experience was like. Then we can dive into it a little bit more from there.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I really do think it was good luck. I think we're a great match. What happened was, yeah, it was several years ago, and one of our long-term clients here was looking to find a more sustainable option for their packaging. So it was a product, similar to this, and they wanted to make it more green, more earth-friendly. And so as a team with our client, we started looking at different options, different materials, whether it be hemp or jute or additives. And, they mentioned recycled ocean plastic, and, quickly Googling it, the name Oceanworks came up. We did look at a lot of different options and tried to consider all options. And we found that Oceanworks was really the best fit for what we were trying to do. So Oceanworks offered, the high quality guaranteed material, was willing to work closely with us. They were very supportive. And we were looking to grow this area of our business, and they were willing to support us in that mission.
Absolutely. And I guess fast forward to now, we've been working together for several years. You've now become what we call a preferred manufacturing partner. If there's somebody that's coming to us that is looking for a quick solution to get sustainable products to market, you're kind of our go-to specialist in that area. When we talk about preferred manufacturers, I think it's very important to note a couple of things. Traditionally, brands have not concerned themselves with raw materials of plastic. It's kind of the part that's thought last about. We're focusing on the product design, how you're actually marketing and branding the product. Now the sustainability is in the forefront. Brands care about it. The end consumer certainly cares about it. The input materials, in this case of plastic, is taking front and center stage. But it is a very new area for brands. So we have a lot of brands come to us and they're doing the homework and they need somebody that can help guide them through that. In many cases, their manufacturer might not be willing to try new materials. Their manufacturer is not up to speed on new materials, more sustainable materials for that. So having a partner in the space that's not only an expert in manufacturing, but also has experience with our plastics specifically, can really help expedite the entire process. With that, also important to note, Oceanworks is not a manufacturing body. We supply pelletized resin, again, ocean-bound, and PCR plastics. So that's what we do. It is very deep in the supply chain. Being able to bring in a partner that's slightly further up in the supply chain and can communicate in a more traditional manner, I think is very helpful. In many cases, a brand might not even need to speak to Oceanworks initially because they can go right to a manufacturing partner like RSP, get a lot of the same information, and then move forward from there. With that though, a preferred manufacturer I consider in the Oceanworks ecosystem to be a relationship building exercise. So you are now up to speed on our materials. You have a great knowledge base. You understand how to sell and quote those materials to customers. Tell me about what that path looked like, because when you first came in, we were looking at one or two materials. You now have this huge knowledge base of so many different SKUs of Oceanworks. So explain how you took those baby steps, and we grew this very organically to now make it almost interchangeable depending on who you're talking to. You can really get the same information and the same answers.
Sure. I mean, so yeah, it started with transaction, like you said, and RSP has a lot of experience in molding, a lot of experience with materials. So we weren't intimidated or afraid to try it. But being a preferred partner, that took time. So I think we had to kind of build faith with each other, some trust there. RSP had to show a commitment to learning about the material and the processes. And I think we've done that, taking on a number of projects and looking at a number of different materials. There's a lot to learn, but Oceanworks is very good at giving us the support we need. So, you know, in truth, a lot of what we do has never been done before. These materials are newer. Every molding project is unique. And so, you know, there's definitely a learning curve for picking one of these projects up. But as we've done more of them, you know, our engineers and our team here, you know, we become more experienced and we become more comfortable using the plastics, knowing how they're going to perform, knowing what the, you know, perhaps some hurdles are going to be. But now we have a plan in place to move forward with those. So today, RSP is comfortable with the materials, the pricing, the fabrication of these materials. So we know what works.
Yeah, and it's been, I guess, fun for me to watch the relationship grow. You know, we talk to each other so much, but when you first came in, it was like, it was this special exercise, right? And now you're comfortable with the materials to the point where just your everyday employees are reaching out, quick one-off questions, right? It's just like any other supply network. And I like that because it's shown that everyone throughout your system has just become more comfortable with the materials. As your confidence grows there, your customers' confidence can grow. That was good relation to speaking specifically about Oceanworks and Oceanworks partnership here. But no preferred manufacturer partnership would be complete without having more services just beyond being familiar with our materials. So maybe take a moment, really let people know what RSP is all about. Your capabilities, I know beyond just injection molding, you have all these other services that you can offer. explain what those are, let customers know what it is that you can do beyond just knowing about Oceanworks plastics.
Absolutely. So we are one-stop shopping. We do a lot of different things. We do a lot of different things well. If something's not a good fit, we're also very good at identifying that early on. But what's nice is you can send a customer our way, or a client approaches us about ocean plastics, and they're focused on that, and all of a sudden I say, well, you're connecting up to a metal bezel. How does that work? And they're like, wait, you do more than just the plastic? And and it's not only good from, I want to add value and provide value, but it's also good for the client to be able to come to one place, get answers. And even if we don't end up making that metal part, which happens in some cases, we still understand the manufacturing side of it and how things are going to fit together and what the implications of doing that are. So, we can provide a lot of value outside of just molding.
Yes, and I see all the time, like in manufacturing supply chains, there's so much compartmentalization that occurs. That's very hard to see what the other players in that supply chain are actually doing. So having you as kind of a throughput, and even from the importing and exporting of the materials and then the finished product, having just sight through that entire thing, I think can make customers feel very comfortable. And especially when we're talking about traceability, having a manufacturing partner that can do a lot and you're keeping the material and the product in-house for as long as possible, I think also goes a long way when we're talking about traceability. So those are just some really nice benefits. I always like to call those out when we're introducing potential customers to you. All of that stuff is very important. So bringing it back to the Oceanworks material side, you obviously offer a lot of benefits and capabilities. I want to talk about the materials specifically that you're using with Oceanworks, because I do see a lot of questions come through about this as well. Oceanworks Materials, and I believe I have a graphic if we can pull that up. Again, if you're a current customer of Oceanworks, this should be somewhat familiar to you. If you're new, let's take a minute to explain it. Oceanworks collection areas, we work with materials and we rate them on a 1 through 8 scale. 1 being your offshore deep ocean plastic materials, 7 and 8 scale being your standard PCR and post-industrial scrap plastics. The meat of the Oceanworks business occurs in zones 2 through 5, which is the nearshore, coastal, and ocean-bound categories. Just to kind of clarify and help you picture those categories, nearshore materials are typically fishing nets, so nylons, polypropylenes, HDPEs, fishing nets that are either brought back through a collection incentive program or collected out at sea. Going a little bit more inland, and really the bulk of our offering is ocean-bound plastics. That is PCR, so scrap, food packaging, just post-consumer waste that's found in an underdeveloped region of the world, in an area without formal waste management. And in reality, most of those areas are very coastal communities. So waste is piling up. It's very easy for that material to enter the ecosystem and certainly the oceans. So when we're talking about ocean-bound plastic, we're talking about, yes, collecting it on the shorelines, but we're also turning the tap off on the ocean plastic problem. We're stopping that material from hitting the water and then entering the ecosystem out in the water, where it's much more labor intensive to have to collect, and it just becomes a nightmare when it gets to that point. Within each of those collection zones, we obviously offer multiple polymers. HDPE and polypropylene are our daily drivers. We also do a lot of work in PET, and then engineered resins as well too, like nylon. For RSP, very important to note that you're familiar with all of those different materials and all of those different collection zones. So what we've seen in the past from other manufacturers, again, this is a great highlight for RSP, we might work with a manufacturer with 1 or maybe 2 grades of plastic. Being able to go to a manufacturer that has an understanding of all of our plastics from all of our collection zones really helps you as the brand say, all right, Mike, lay out all of my options for me and what is going to be the best option. Having that intimate understanding of what each type of material can do, what the limitations might be, I think is hugely beneficial. And when we're talking about fast tracking, we can just save a lot of time on the R&D. Mike and his team know exactly what to expect from the materials. It makes that process that much quicker. Mike, tell me about what that experience has been. In the past, I know that there's a lot of hesitation from manufacturers trying new materials. So maybe explain your mindset there, and then how you've grown to gain confidence in the material along the lines of consistency and quality.
Yeah, it was a huge worry at first. Probably our biggest concern getting into this and talking to our clients was, are we going to get the consistency? Are we going to get the quality? RSP is a ISO 13485 medical grade approved molder. We're FDA approved for medical products as well. We produce at the highest level, and so we're used to consistency and quality. Now we've been doing this a few years. We've gotten batch after batch after batch of some of these materials, so they're circulating through, and I'm very glad to say that I'm not getting negative feedback from my production engineers. They're happy with the quality. They're happy with the consistency. It performs, consistency wise like a virgin plastic. So that's really good to hear. Now each plastic is different. So, we have material engineers on staff. We have material scientists we bring in for certain projects, and that's on the ocean side and the virgin side. I mean, they both, there's a learning curve and there's a lot of variables. And so, it's good to see that. It's good to have that experience with the material, and yeah, I'm happy to say that we are seeing that consistency. So we even test mold some of our molds with that are made for ocean plastic with virgin material, just to if the material hasn't come in yet, and it performs similarly. I mean, there's differences, but it's close enough that we're able to kind of test out tooling that way.
Yes, and I think that speaks a lot to the quality that we're driving on the material side. Even when we started Oceanworks, it wasn't that long ago. We're seeing this transition from recycled plastic being a low-cost filler in many industrial applications to really being the highlight of what we want to be high-quality products. So seeing that interchangeability, I think, is huge. Being able to swap back and forth. Just again, we're chipping it away at all those barriers to entry, and we're making it a much smoother process for brands to engage in a responsible plastic. Okay, so enough about RSP and Oceanworks and our materials. We've, amongst all the talking, been doing a lot of doing as well. So let's talk about some product examples. I always, when I'm introducing RSP to clients, or when we're just talking about preferred partnerships, this particular case pops up around your work with Best Bee Brothers. I think it's an interesting case because it's a fairly ordinary product, but I think it exemplifies how you can make a very easy switch from virgin plastic into a ocean-bound plastic for a relatively low cost, and how doing just one change can then open up the door for other opportunities within that brand. So basic product, but great case study. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike, and just kind of your experience as this was your customer. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. It's been really fun working with Best Bee Brothers, actually. They are a relatively small company. We've been with them since the beginning, and they focus on natural pest control. And so the Best Bee Brothers trap shown here is for carpenter bees, which are real common down south and in the east, for those not familiar. But this company focused on natural quality products. They hadn't considered the packaging or the plastic until RSP learned about ocean plastic, and then we promoted it to them and introduced it, and they were on board from day one. And the truth is, this is a great example because we really use the same tooling. We swapped out the plastic. This is a Oceanworks plastic that comes in green, so we didn't have to use any colorant, and the cost impact for them was minimal, if any. So they were really happy to jump on board. So once they discovered how easy it was, they switched over to this product. Then they started looking at the rest of their product line. They also use blow molded bottles. So we're doing those in Ocean PET now. And they're looking at some other products within their line too, switching them over. So far to date, for a small company, they've diverted over 17.5 metric tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And, that's something they promote, they put on their packaging, and they're trying to do even more of that. So they're real happy with the product and Oceanworks and hopefully RSP.
Yeah, it's just been a great kind of story, and I've loved watching it progress. And certainly not to undersell Best Bee Brothers, it's pretty meaningful volumes, right? We're now ordering container loads of plastic for the product, and as you related it back, it adds up to meaningful environmental savings. So it's
Yes.
just good all around. If you have a good product, it's another way to just add another layer of differentiation out in the market, and feel good about doing it at the same time too. So
Yeah.
love that. Moving on, we have a couple of other examples and some basic pictures that we have ready to go. I want you to talk about just kind of the nuances of each one of these products. The product is secondary at this point to the storytelling of what it is that we're overcoming and all the learnings and how every project is very unique that we're entering, and just how good RSP is at overcoming those unique obstacles and providing straightforward solutions.
Sure. Yeah, these are three very unique projects that demonstrate, a variety of possible outcomes, really. So, on the left, we have a makeup case. It goes into the beauty industry. It's meant for kind of your travel needs. And, so that industry loves sustainability and they're focusing on it. And they have these initiatives and goals, but they also wanted perfect quality. And so we knew early on that we were going to have to do a blend of ocean and virgin plastics, and they were fine with that. We had to try a bunch of different plastics, both on the virgin side and the ocean side. And so this took time. We communicated with them up front that the challenges of it, and we knew we'd come out with a solution, and ultimately we did. So this has been out on the market now for a few months. It met their requirements for aesthetics and quality, and so they're very happy with that. On the right, we have what it's called a tuna fork. So this product actually goes onto cans of tuna. So it's meant to be, used to eat the food. It's actually exported from China to Morocco, which we learned and discovered has some of the highest standards for importing food products in the world. It's easier to import this product into the US or Europe than it is into Morocco. So what they required was a lot of additional testing that we didn't even know about up front. So we were using Oceanworks, food grade, FDA approved material, and had to do additional testing above and beyond the standard that we thought was necessary. And it passed with flying colors. So, we make a lot of these and they're being imported into Morocco. And, it's great to have a food product that's made from recycled ocean plastic. The third item there, a couple different examples of thermoform trays. So this is a project that RSP kind of took on our own to sheet and create rolls of ocean virgin plastic hybrid mixture. So I think it's 70% ocean plastic. And, we did that with not knowing what we're going to do with it. And then we have a customer in the cannabis industry, and they use that tray in the back left corner, and they grow plants in it and they ship plants in it. And so RSP went out and we just tried forming it to see how it would work, and then independently kind of presented it to our client. And they looked at the price difference, and there's a slight difference for this product. But then they looked at the benefits and the story they'd be able to tell, and they got very excited about it. So, here's three different products, three different high quality uses that go into three different markets. So, I think people, like you mentioned before, they have a limited view of what recycled plastic can do, but really you need to expand that view.
Yes, and anytime that our plastic is going into a product that just requires higher quality, I love it. I think it's just proving out what it is that we're doing, what's possible. It's building confidence on your side. It should be building confidence at the customer level. So I love that. And then, shout out Morocco for any of our overseas travelers. You can feel good about the plastic there. It is highly scrutinized.
Yep.
Okay, moving on. These silly jokes.
You got pulled into that, so you had to help us. But
all right, let's talk about martini glasses and wine glasses.
Yes, let's do that. I got my sparkling seltzer water right here. So Mm,
Excellent. Cheers to that. For
keep
the
it light.
audience, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, so we've had this idea for a long time. We're always approached by companies that have strong marketing backgrounds. In this case, wine, spirits, liquors. Many of those companies have through lines to beaches and coastal vibes. And they all want to do something that's sustainable, that kind of matches their marketing stories. Ocean plastics have always been part of that discussion. It's always very hard to get promotional products up and running though. It's like, are we making a custom mold? Is there a stock product available? And how do we swap in a sustainable plastic where currently just virgin plastic is being used in massive, massive volumes? We got approached a few different times for this opportunity, and we finally reached out to Mike. I don't know why we didn't do it sooner. And I said, Mike, find me an existing mold of drinkware so we can shoot it with our plastic, and let's just get a baseline and see what happens. Once we have a baseline, once we have the confidence from the brand that yes, this can be done, we can either stick with that existing mold, or we can go out and customize something and we can spend more time with it and make it a bigger, broader project. And it went over and it's going over as a massive success. On the left, we have a high quality polypropylene, ocean-bound characteristics made into a martini glass. On the right, we have a clear PET that's made into a wine glass. Both of them are very durable, they're reusable, and they can be used as promotional products. And actually on the left, there's the potential that's going to be going into a few restaurants now as well. So it's been a really interesting case of taking, everything we talked to previous in this discussion has been a very kind of custom and unique project. This is saying, hey, we just want to take a regular product that we see on the market all the time, plastic glassware, and can we switch it into a sustainable plastic? So being able to tap into RSP, who has boots on the ground, who has an extensive network in China, and who has just a lot of molds from your years in business, it's like, hey, can we reuse some of that? And from there, reduce the amount of homework that we have to do, lower, again, the barriers to entry, and make this thing just happen faster. So that's been my experience with this. It's been a very fun project in a space that I like. But tell us from your experience, I mean, what's going on here? What did you like about it? Were there hurdles? How can we do more of this?
Yeah, no, we're like you said, we've got hundreds and hundreds of molds in stock ourselves that we've produced over the years, and then we're very well networked in Asia and China, and so reaching out and finding a tool and somebody willing to mold, whether they mold it in their facility or we've actually taken in tools on loan into our facility that were not produced for us originally, and then we'll mold in-house just for additional control and quality as well. So that's an option. I like to think of this as the fast tracking sustainability. So like you said, there's a lot of people who don't want to wait, they want it now, and this is a way to get it to them now. And in the future they can always make a custom tool or do something different, but for now this gives them something very quickly. So we've done this with belt buckles and other articles as well, and so it's really worked out well, and people like to have something in their hands before they commit larger budgets to it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big unknown, right? It's like, can this be done? If there's a confidence that's there, then the sky really becomes the limit. So being able to do things like that, just immensely beneficial and fueling our mission of making responsible plastic choices and ultimately cleaning our oceans. On the idea of stock products, I want to do a highlight on the work that you've been doing in the PET packaging space, offering stock solutions. Oceanworks gets inundated with questions about packaging. Many mid-size and even large-size brands are saying, hey, we use a fairly stock package right now. Can we make that a more sustainable choice? The answer is often no. Getting large-scale manufacturers to switch from their virgin resins is a harder than you would think experience. So RSP has taken upon themselves to offer the beginnings of a wide collection of stock products. Mike, tell us about this. I think we have a graphic that shows some of the items that we have. Yes, we do. It's on the screen now. Talk to us about what's available now, what we can do in addition to this, and really how this can even just catalyze the next level of conversation. I think having, again, things that are in your hand that you can touch and feel, say, yes, this is possible, and we'll use this, or deviate from that and do something more custom, is really the next phase of the sustainability movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we've done blow molding for a lot of years, supplied it to clients around the world, and when we thought of using the ocean plastic, it just made sense. Like, hey, let's offer this.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have access to several hundred different tools and designs. This is a small sampling here, so we can kind of match up to anything you need. But again, we're reducing that barrier to entry by saying, hey, there's no tooling here, and there's a lot of blow molders who will not look at something less than 100,000 or 1,000,000 parts. And it's funny. I actually talked to a customer this morning. They're looking for 2,500 or 5,000, which is a very small quantity in the blow molding world. But they have a very unique product, and so it's interesting. And they see future potential down the road for much larger volume. They actually pump water up from deep in the North Atlantic Ocean, and that water doesn't swirl as much, I guess. It has a very high concentration of what they call ancient minerals that would actually make you ill to drink it straight. And so they dilute it, and they're going to bottle it in one of these, an ocean plastic PET bottle. And what a great fit. You have ocean water, you have ocean plastic. It's a great story to tell. And we're able to get them into these bottles, hopefully at a smaller quantity than what other vendors could get them into. So we're also looking at, I mentioned earlier, the sheet form, the roll form of PET, that's used for thermoforming or labels or printing. We use for a lot of different things. So we're exploring different kind of opportunities with that, but we'll kind of put in the investment up front to create the large roll, and then clients can find different ways of using it. So we're looking for other opportunities like this as well, but that's kind of the the stock product aspects that we're looking at right now.
Cool. I would like an advanced sample of that product that you're working on.
Yeah, no, me too.
And just to highlight again, I think what's really important in this area is the bottles are made using FDA grade ocean bound plastics. So that's huge, it opens up plenty of doors. And then the MOQs that we're talking about are very accessible, right? We get barriers all the time when we're just, this millions, right? Or hundreds of thousands. And obviously that's the business everyone wants, but being able to see the long-term potential of smaller projects, I think is great. Your MOQs are very accessible. You still have to make some sort of investment as a customer, but accessible volumes, accessible MOQs, and that really unsticks a lot of these projects that people want to move forward. Even big brands, I see, they want to dip their toes in and maybe do a capsule collection. So being able to offer these solutions helps pave that way. Okay, cool. I think that we're about out of time. Just checking my clock. We're running a little bit over, but I want to save some time to do Q&A. So for audience members, looks like we have quite a few still with us, which is awesome. Haven't lost your attention. Instructions again should be on the screen if you'd like to ask any questions. We'll take a few, and I am just getting over to that page now. Let's see what we have. There's a, I'm going to paraphrase this. Sorry, but I think it's an important question to ask because we get it a lot, and I think it's very important to set expectations, not only what you should expect from Oceanworks and RSP, but what we should be expecting from the customer as well. So, Mike, can you summarize what RSP is looking for in a brand partner, right? What should they be bringing to the table? Are there certain qualifications? How can they make sure that their experience is going to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, first, we're looking for companies that are committed to sustainability. They need to have a shared goal, a shared vision with us and Oceanworks. And that makes them appreciate kind of that process that we need to go through, and kind of the hurdles that we need to jump through sometimes. So we'll get there in the end, but having that shared vision is really important, we found. So second, we're looking for the same things we're looking for in any of our clients. Do they have a thoughtful business plan? Do they have existing sales channel for their products? Do they have resources to invest, whether it's in the tooling or the production? And finally, while RSP doesn't officially have MOQs, at the end of the day, we'll make one, but sometimes it's just not financially, doesn't make sense to go that path. So, do they have volume, or is there a path to volume in the future? And we're willing to take that leap with clients. Like you said, we have reasonable minimum order quantities when we instill those, and so we're looking to move projects forward.
Awesome. One of my other questions, it's actually here twice, so we should answer this. Let's talk a little bit about the work that you're doing on the distribution front. Clients in the past have sometimes hit barriers because the material is not readily available inside of China, although it is able to be imported there. So talk about the work that you're doing to stock materials, and then also the work that you can do to import materials on customers' behalf.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we are a distribution partner as well for Oceanworks. We started ordering so much material and bringing so much material into China that it just made sense to kind of expand that network and offer it to clients who don't need our molding. So RSP does not need to be your molder. We don't have to be your processor. We can just act as the distributor. We can assist in that import process. It is not always easy. If that material comes in labeled recycled, it's difficult. So we've gotten paperwork in place and processes in place and a duty-free zone in place if needed to bring that material smoothly into China and then get it to your end client. So if you already have a molder, that's not a problem for working with RSP. We can still assist in getting that material in there. We do warehouse some materials on a limited basis. We hope to grow that area as well, but we're trying to make this easier for people to use the material and really grow the market.
Yes, and to clarify, I do think Mike would like your manufacturing business, although he is able to send material to his competitors as well. And I think that's been very admirable of you, Mike. So good job.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a big market, so we can all enjoy the benefits.
Tell me a little bit about what the increase in requests looks like. I know that you promote yourself on the web and on a couple of different channels as an Oceanworks partner. So are you seeing an increase in requests for ocean plastic, and how is your existing book of business taking to the idea that you have a new sustainable offering in your repertoire?
Yeah. We started with a trickle, and that's kind of grown into the faucet opening up over the last couple months, especially. So I wish I could name drop it, but we're seeing, recognizable global names coming to us, and they don't always move that fast. But people have these sustainability initiatives, these goals, and this plastic is a great way to address that. So our new clients are definitely coming in. And like I said, it's a slow process, but we see that potential growing. And we're also switching our existing clients. So we had the Best Bee Brothers example. For us, it doesn't grow our business, but if it's good for their business and it helps them sell more, then ultimately it does help RSP. And it's also about doing the right thing. So, I like to go home at night and tell my 16-year-old about, kind of what I'm doing to help this planet and help the future. So.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And I often feel the same. Anytime we can make even a small change, right? You're just lessening your dependence on virgin plastic. And that really is the ultimate goal. We're not here to villainize plastics. It's a very important part of today's society, but it's, how can we use it in a responsible manner? And how can we make small or big changes just to make those responsible decisions? And anytime that we do that, I think that's just a huge win. So we certainly share that vision and enthusiasm and passion. With that, we're right at time. We wanted to keep this at 40 minutes. We're right there. So Mike, closing thoughts and best way to get a hold of RSP if folks are interested in purchasing materials or utilizing you for your manufacturing expertise.
Yeah. First of all, thanks for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure. Hopefully you learned something. If you have a project, if you have a question, definitely reach out to us. Even if you don't think it's a good fit and you just want to find out, our sales team is happy to help. The best way to reach us, I think there's a slide up here showing, we have an email address, sales@rspinc.com is a great way to reach out. Otherwise, you can go to our website and honestly feel free to dial one of us up. Our numbers are on there. We're happy to talk with you as well.
Yes. And from the Oceanworks side, I guess we'll be signing off as well. So thank you, Mike, for joining us. Anyone has any follow-up questions for Oceanworks specifically, info@oceanworks.co. And for Oceanworks, I am Patrick signing off. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Catch you next time.